Did you know that John Wayne actually hates his birth name? But John Wayne's dissatisfaction went well beyond his name. It extended to a deep-seated frustration and a growing resentment towards his overbearing mentor, whose excessive control seemed to stifle his every step. He was Marion Morrison. He found it too feminine sounding, and growing up he faced quite a bit of teasing about it. To address this, John Wayne decided to adopt the name Duke, which was actually his beloved dog's name. His family even joined in on the fun, referring to him as the Big Duke, while John himself became the Small Duke. It's like he fully embraced this new persona, and the name Duke stuck with him throughout his iconic career. This story is a perfect example that reminds us that behind the tough exterior, he was just as human as the rest of us. The Harris Poll recently unveiled its compilation of America's top 10 beloved movie stars, and to everyone's surprise, amidst the current crop of popular names, a timeless figure from the past claimed a remarkable position: John Wayne. Even though more than 3 decades have passed since his untimely demise, Wayne secured the 3rd spot on the list. He's a true icon in the movie industry. When you think of classic westerns and larger-than-life heroes, this man's name immediately comes to mind. John Wayne wasn't just an actor. He was a symbol of American ruggedness, charisma, and unyielding determination. A tall, strapping figure with a rugged jawline and that unmistakable swagger, John Wayne had an image that defined what it meant to be a Hollywood leading man. He effortlessly portrayed trust, fearless characters who always stood up for what was right, no matter the odds stacked against him. But you know what's really cool? Behind that tough guy persona, John Wayne was known for his kindness and generosity. He had a heart of gold. In fact, he would often take time out of his busy schedule to visit children in hospitals and brighten their days. Can you imagine the joy on those kids' faces when they saw their hero right in front of them? It's the kind of thing that makes you smile, right? He had a soft side that not many people got to see. It's fascinating how someone can project such a masculine image while still embodying compassion and warmth. So when we ponder how John Wayne transitioned from being an icon to facing personal hardship, it's essential to recognize the complexities of his journey. John Wayne's persona was intricately intertwined with a prevailing culture of Cold War machismo. It's not often that a person's true self gets overshadowed by their public image, but in the case of John Wayne, who he was and what he did became inseparable. Little did I realize that the John Wayne we all revered was not simply a pre-existing entity, but rather a carefully constructed persona, meticulously crafted through years of hard work and self-reinvention. Born as Marion Robert Morrison on May 26, 1907, in the small Iowa town of Winterset, John Wayne went on to become one of the most iconic actors of the 20th century. Right from birth, it was clear that he was destined to be a larger-than-life figure, both in size and presence. He was the eldest child in the Morrison family, who faced their fair share of hardships, insults, and uncertainties. Growing up in a financially challenged household, they moved around quite a bit before eventually settling in California in 1914. Marion's journey to Hollywood was truly remarkable. Like many others during that time, he was part of the wave of people migrating to Los Angeles in search of new opportunities and a chance to leave behind their troubled past. Growing up, he had always yearned to escape the unhappy marriage of his parents and desperately sought his mother's love. But unfortunately, he never quite received it. He learned valuable skills in the rural landscapes and small communities of his upbringing. He became adept at handling guns, often protecting his father from rattlesnakes while working on untamed lands. Riding horses became second nature to him, and as he pored over the pages of Sears catalogs, he honed his reading skills and daydreamed about the things he wished he could afford. The concept of hard work, even when it didn't bring immediate rewards, was ingrained in him from an early age. His father, despite facing numerous challenges, served as a source of inspiration and love in his life. He was always striving to achieve more. He managed to secure a football scholarship to USC, which was a significant accomplishment. However, unlike his wealthier fraternity brothers, he found himself working to make ends meet by serving them meals. It was a humbling experience, to say the least. Back in 1928, on the set of the film Mother Machree, John Ford took notice of a young man tending to a flock of geese. The lad was quite imposing in size, yet there was an air of innocence about him, or at least that's how he appeared. Surprisingly, he claimed to have no desire to pursue acting, but simply working as a property boy. an extra to earn some extra cash while playing college football. Despite all this, Ford still felt the young man wasn't quite prepared for the spotlight, saying, "I wanted some pain written on his face to offset the innocence." When you look at a still photograph from 1930, it becomes clear that Ford's assessment was accurate. The young man possessed a soft, creamy look, resembling a come-hither figure, straight out of a partly baked cheesecake. It was Raoul Walsh who ultimately took a chance on him, offering him his first leading role in the 1930 film, The Big Trail. Following consultations with his studio executives, Walsh advised the budding actor to change his name to John Wayne, setting the stage for the iconic persona we know today. He found himself immersed in a multitude of Western films produced by the so-called Poverty Row Studios. These were the Saturday matinee odors aimed at young boys, swiftly consumed and forgotten. However, it was during one of these ventures that John Ford rediscovered him, casting his eyes upon a slightly disheartened B-level actor who had temporarily lost his confidence while fishing off a pier in Long Beach. Ford, known for valuing camaraderie above all, welcomed him onto his boat, the Eriner, and gradually brought him into his inner circle. In 1938, Ford, now an esteemed Academy Award-winning director, casually tossed a script at him, calling him an idiot, before unexpectedly offering him the role in Stagecoach. The audacity of Ford's approach showcased their unique relationship. Ford's treatment of Wayne was marked by a particular brand of tough love. Ultimately, the duo collaborated on 23 films, which are widely regarded as some of the finest and most significant works in the history of Hollywood. Their creative partnership went on to define an enduring image of American masculinity, one that would reign supreme for nearly half a century. The masculine ideal championed by Ford and embodied by Wayne remains relevant and worthy of admiration. Stoic, humble, gallant, self-sufficient, and fiercely loyal. When described in such terms, who could possibly disagree? But let's pause for a moment to contemplate the captivating essence of masculine self-mastery, as magnificently portrayed in the masterpieces of John Ford. That masculinity, much like the Western genre itself, can be seen as a product of nostalgic yearning, an idealized vision that may not have truly existed. Or worse yet, it could have been a facade that leaves no room for any man, including John Wayne, to feel good in his own skin. Throughout their enduring complex friendship, Ford rarely bestowed a kind word upon his protege. In fact, he displayed a relentless harshness in his treatment of Wayne, perhaps fueled by or despite Wayne's deep admiration for him. Wayne held Ford in the highest regard, proclaiming, "My whole setup was that he was my mentor and my ideal. I genuinely believed he is one of the greatest human beings I've ever known." Ford pushed Wayne to his limits, subjecting him to relentless scrutiny. Even amidst a cast well aware of Ford's intimidating presence, they felt compelled to step in and advocate for Wayne. During the filming of Stagecoach, Wayne's inexperience as a leading man became apparent, unsettling Ford. In a moment of frustration, he confronted Wayne. "Why are you moving your mouth so much? Don't you know that you don't act with your mouth in pictures?" Ford expressed disdain for Wayne's movement, criticizing his walk, and rebuked him by saying, "Can't you walk instead of skipping like a damn fairy?" Ford's fear of his own femininity compelled him to project a longing for masculinity onto Wayne. Wayne, in turn, embraced and exaggerated this projection, politicizing it. Their relationship carried a poignant undertone. Wayne patterned himself after Ford, while Ford molded him into an unattainable paragon of masculinity. After Stagecoach, Wayne disappeared into forgettable films for nearly a decade. In Three Godfathers, he began to embody the image we know today, a Cold War archetype, unsentimental and proudly anachronistic. His transition from artist to political symbol involved a shift from art to propaganda. Wayne's unwavering anti-communism and fusion of his on-screen persona with fervent ultra-patriotism positioned him against a feminized liberal establishment, drawing populist support. He rejected prevailing norms, symbolizing a nostalgic appeal to rugged masculinity. In this evolution, the artistic aspect diminished as Wayne embraced a powerful political role. Through his on-screen presence and unwavering patriotism, he personified values that contrasted with perceived liberal weaknesses. It was the cruelty of his idol, John Ford, that ultimately shaped the transformation of the youthful, inexperienced boy in buckskins, a figure of beauty with an untouched visage, and a Cold War icon. To truly comprehend this metamorphosis, it's essential to grasp the nature of that cruelty. Henry Fonda, who collaborated with Ford on multiple films, described him as full of delightful BS. Ford playfully pretended to desire only a a career as a stuntman, attributing his directional role to his ability to shout, and claimed to cast actors based solely on their card-playing skills. His entire persona exuded a nostalgic longing for a world he never truly knew. From head to toe, he altered his attire in an attempt to embody the essence of a native Irishman. Collar raised, hat brim lowered to repel Irish rain, and pant legs rolled up as if stepping through the dews of Erin's fields. These were the deliberate choices Ford made to manifest his desired identity. Surprisingly, Ford himself had an effeminate walk, which he was conscious of and somewhat ashamed about, and so he deliberately surrounded himself with figures like John Wayne and Ward Bond, who represented the kind of masculinity he desired. Male companionship and bonding held great significance for Ford, described by his biographer as reaching inordinate levels. In her memoir, Maureen O'Hara speculates that Ford may have been homosexual, sharing an incident of witnessing him kissing a leading man. It's saddening to read about Ford's struggles, including heavy drinking and neglecting his appearance, spending days in bed wearing pajamas, and letting his hair and nails grow. The distant nature of his marriage further adds to the complexity of his life. According to Jimmy Stewart, who worked with Ford, he hated the human voice. Ford would frequently pause filming, convinced that the actors were adding unnecessary words. Even when shown that they hadn't, he would proceed to cut some dialogue. Stewart recalled Ford saying, "If you can't tell your story up on the screen, and if you can't convey the narrative visually without relying on spoken words, then you're not using the medium correctly." Ford's treatment of Wayne may not have been gentle, but their collaboration endured. Perhaps within the intensity of their working relationship, they were able to extract performances that resonated with audiences, defining the very essence of the Western genre. However, let us not forget that even the great John Wayne, heralded as the epitome of rugged masculinity, faced the exacting standards and demands of a mentor, who seemed unwavering in his pursuit of perfection. And this serves as a reminder that behind the romanticized image lies the intricate nature of human interaction, where the pursuit of artistic excellence can't be fraught with challenges and conflicts. But wait, there's still so much more to discover about the intriguing characters from Hollywood's golden age. Don't miss this video: Why People Thought Burt Lancaster is Homosexual,